Welcome back to the channel. Today what I'm going to be talking about is Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is an American cyclist that actually won the Tour de France 7 consecutive times. And the Tour de France is basically a bicycle race through the mountains of France. And anybody who's ever rode a bicycle before should know how difficult it is to ride bikes up and down hills, and the amount of endurance and will that it would take for a person to be able to push that bike through those mountains. And the bikes that they're using are $6,000 and $7,000 bikes, because they got to be very light in order for that rider to be able to make it up and down those mountain hills. So Lance Armstrong was, at this particular time between 1999 and 2005, the best of the best in that particular sport. But there have always been allegations of blood doping. And that's what today's topic is mainly about, even though Lance Armstrong also used HGH, steroids, and also corticoids, you know, basically to get rid of the inflammation in the joints and stuff like that from the punishment of riding those bicycles up and down the hills of France. But blood doping is basically called EPO, and it's a technical type of thing that they use. But here's the gist of EPO: introducing extra red blood cells into your blood. And the more red blood cells you have in your blood, the more oxygen you have in your blood. The more oxygen you have in your blood, the more you can endure. It increases your endurance drastically. And the way they do this is normally through a needle or an IV bag. This race is a 3-week race, and during different legs of the race, they would naturally add EPOs into their blood, making them so that they really would never get tired. Now, let it be known, Lance Armstrong won over $100 million doing this. Over $100 million. So it was money to be gained, and the efforts was really substantial for him to be able to do what he was doing. But the only way Lance Armstrong was able to pull this off is that he had help of his teammates who were also using EPOs and steroids, HGH. All of them was doing the same thing, but they also had a doctor in their corner that was assisting them with what they had to know to pass the drug test throughout the race. Lance Armstrong doctor ended up doing was withdrawing Lance Armstrong's own blood, putting it into an IV bag, put it on ice, and at certain parts, at certain legs of the race, he would have the IV bags in his trailer. Lance Armstrong would come in and inject himself and put his blood back into him. By him reintroducing his own blood back into his body, drastically increasing his red blood count, which caused Lance Armstrong to be able to perform at a higher level. So it's a complicated thing, but it's something that's being used and have been used for years. EPO is basically something that that they use for cancer patients. You know, when they're going through chemo, when their blood count drop, they use EPOs to build their blood count back up. It's basically said that 80% of all the riders are doing this. So in my opinion, it looks like the playing field is pretty much even, and some kind of way the French are basically fooling themselves that they have a clean race, because everybody that's pretty much doing the race is doing the same thing, just like bodybuilding. That's why bodybuilding on a professional level is equal, because everybody's doing the same thing. But that's what I want to talk to y'all about. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. And again, I'll be talking to you later.